What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Captain Chad Gabs TV. We're at 19,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing. I can't even believe it. We're growing and growing and growing. Somebody called me a shitty YouTuber the other day, and of course it was somebody with user 697345521 with no content at all. And that's how I know I've made it on YouTube. Well, I haven't made it. I've only, I've been monetized for like 2 weeks, and I've, made something like 500 bucks, which is insane. It's like 500 bucks in 2 weeks. Like I just became monetized. And that's a result of a lot of these fucking little weasels that are just talking about, you're not a good YouTuber. Well, thanks. Like I can't really talk shit to you guys because you're really a huge part of the reason. Like you're watching my content. Like you're helping my algorithm. Tell me in this video how much you think I'm shitty and that all the bad things. Tell me all the bad things. I want you to cry in my boo, boo, boo. From your basement or wherever you hang out at, which is, likely your mama's house or something like that, where you're all super broke and upset, which is why you take out your anger on other successful people. Somebody like me comes across as threatening to you and you see something that you wish you had and you just get mad about it instead of, be happy for somebody's success. But anyway, in this video, we're going to talk about fat dogs. Now look, 95% of the time, people don't know they're making their dogs fat. And the other part of the time, it's like they can't tell their dogs are fat because they see them every single day. Most people don't realize that they're overfeeding their dogs. And they don't really start to realize it until, it's too late. All of a sudden you wake up, you're like, damn, my dog's fat. And so you got to reflect a little bit. Now, I'm not excluded out of this conversation. One time I accidentally made my dog fat, and then my wife was like, dude, Rosie's getting a bit fat. And I'm like, what? Looked at her, I was like, oh. Well, at that point, she started aging a little bit. Her metabolism started slowing down. I was feeding her the same amount of food the entire time. I never, upped her intake, but she got a little bit older and maybe she wasn't getting enough physical activity. And one thing led to another. She's chunky. And I was quite embarrassed because at that point I knew better, but it happened to me anyway. So, maybe I'm gonna show you guys the dogs in question. I'm here waiting for the owners of these dogs here. They're 3 cattle dogs. I'm gonna show you what an overweight dog looks like. And look, I don't say this to try to offend them, and I don't tell people. If I think their dogs are fat, I'm not gonna be like, hey, your dogs are fat. You know what I'm saying? So not really my place. I'm not a pet nutritionist. They didn't ask me. I'm not just gonna say it. Do you know what I'm saying? But if they ask me, I'll be like, yeah, I think your dogs are overweight because they got no hip line. It's just flat all the way across, and you could just see fat pockets residing just right above on their back. Like they're clearly overweight. And they're cattle dogs. It's pretty easy to spot a fat cattle dog, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of show you guys that right now, show you guys the dogs I'm talking about, so maybe you could play the compare game. Your dogs look like this, and you have cattle dogs, they're overweight, and you're overfeeding. And a lot of the time, it makes sense to me because I see what they're being fed, And we'll talk about that in a second. It's a cattle dog. This dog's overweight. So is this one. No hip line. Look at that, no hip line. Just there's supposed to be some definition there, and it looks like their owners are here. So we're going to cut the video for now. So is this one. We're going to cut the video for now, and then I'll get back to it in a second. There they are. Oh, it's all right. You know what? This is the one time we give them a free pass to be excited now. I mean, they haven't seen. You guys are over there listening to "You're My Sunshine, Brentwood in My Cup."
I'm sure you guys heard about Eric Church.
What happened with Eric Church?
He played gospel music his whole entire set.
Oh, that's not good, right?
Nope.
Come on, Eric Church, give us some shit that you became famous for.
He played "You Are My Sunshine" and when the Saints Go Marching In.
Oh man, what were we expecting out of Eric Church?
Definitely not that.
Definitely not that. Hot dogs. Right on, right on, right on. If I could just step out of my lane for 5 seconds, I hope you don't take this too personally. If I had any recommendation for them, I would just cut back on the amount of meals you feed them per day. It's the only recommend. When I look at these dogs, I see like they might be slightly overweight.
So actually, she's lost 10 pounds.
Oh, has she?
We went to a trainer for him, and instead of training him like we fucking wanted, he was worried about like what we were feeding him and shit.
Oh.
He didn't give us any like pounds and stuff. So this was during COVID.
Oh yeah.
So he ended up gaining like, I don't know, probably like 5-10 pounds. So we're like slimming him down now.
Yeah.
Trying to what we
Well,
were feeding them was a lot less. We're trying to feed them less than what we are now.
yeah, so if I'm gonna be honest with you, I think it's the portions of chicken that you're adding to the kibble that might be contributing. Yeah, because that portion of chicken on top of the caloric intake of the kibble, and then the other little treats that you feed as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of calories in one shot, and if you're doing that multiple times a day,
Yeah.
that's going to be something that's going to make it a little harder to shed weight. So I've hired pet nutritionists in the past because I too have also fucking accidentally made my dogs fat.
Yep. Yeah.
It's because 5 and 6, this is where their metabolism starts to slow down a little bit. And so between caloric intake and daily activity in reference to actual physical exertion, these are all the things that my nutritionist had me like really talk to me about. It all made sense to me. So if I know my dogs aren't actually physically running around and getting like good physical exertion, I'm looking at my caloric intake. So like if I don't have the type of schedule where I can get them out to the park consistently and running around full speed, fucking getting that in, then I'm just gonna back up one meal. It's not the end of the world to feed one meal a day. You know what I'm saying? Like my dogs are at good weight and they still only get one meal a day.
That's crazy.
All right.
So he was weird.
Yeah, so they took that information extremely gracefully and told me that they had been working on it, that they identified that the dogs definitely were struggling with their weight, but I know what they were feeding because they left me the food, obviously. And so, like, when I looked at what they were eating and how many times I was instructed to feed them per day, I already saw an exceeded amount of caloric intake on a daily basis, which, with a lack of activity in reference to actually going all out, running around, getting real physical exertion, add on a caloric intake overload, there's no way that those dogs were going to lose weight at any sort of significant time. So had that conversation with them. I didn't plan on having that conversation with them, but I was vibing with them really well. And I just kind of had the instinct that they would take it cool. And of course, the way that I present it isn't in a judgmental type way because I raised my hand and my own dog got fat one time underneath my nose. So the conversation went well. I think it was really productive. No more feeding chicken on top of the kibble. That's going to be the solution for them. They're not going to need a pet nutritionist to know that adding chicken on top of what already is enough calories for one meal, right? Chicken is also the least most beneficial protein that you can give a dog. Most of the time, chicken is going to cause irritation, dry skin, hair loss, all sorts of itchiness. Chicken's terrible. Now, it's not going to be the same for every dog, which is why I always, and I'm going to end with this, always recommend hiring a professional pet nutritionist for all of your pet nutritional needs. I'm just a guy that's been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I got a little bit of background on that. But again, I'm not a pet nutritionist. If you're having problems with your dog's weight, if you're having problems with your dog's food, hire a pet nutritionist. I have a great one I can recommend to you guys. Let me know in the comments. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, whatever. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. Peace.